Hello, a very warm good morning, my dear students. Welcome back to this virtual online class of APPA Public School. As you all know me, I am your social science teacher, PAULSON SAMSON, right? Okay, in my previous class, my dear students, okay, so we have discussed about the hierarchy of the Mughal empires, right? And I have given you a technique, right? A formula how to remember the chronological order of the Mughal emperors, right? And also yesterday we have discussed about the timeline, right? The time period of the emperors, the Mughal emperors, from which year to which year they ruled, and some of the famous battles or some of those they have battles they have fought and have won, right? And also a special example we have taken that Humayun ruled for 2 terms. I hope you might have got confused how he can rule for 2 terms, right? So one he has ruled from 1530 to 1540, right? So 10 years, and then 15 years he has to be he has to leave Delhi and has to flee from that. And then later on, after 15 years, he came back and again he fought with Sher Shah Suri, second battle of Panipat, right? So in that he won the battle, and in 1555 he recaptured Delhi, and in the year 1556 he died, right? So after him there came one of the great emperors of the Mughals, that is you all know them, right? It is Akbar, right? So now Akbar was 13-year-old when he became emperor, as you all know, right? So Humayun passed away when Akbar was only 13-year-old, and the 13-year-old Akbar was made the emperor of Mughals, right? And he was looked upon by his uncle by the name Bairam Khan. So he was he was taking control, he was controlling, but the emperor was Akbar only, right? So till his reign can be divided into 3 periods. Now Akbar, his reign totally can be divided into 3 periods, right? So one is from the 1556 to 1570. 1556 to 1570. So now Akbar's reign, right? So this rule can be divided into three periods there, Robert. One is 1570 to 1585. Another one is 1570 to 1585. We will let you know what happened in these time period. Okay, and the third one is 1585 to 1605. 1585 to 1605, right? So 1605 he passed away. So now which are those events or which are battles he fought? What was something interesting in this timeline, right? So let us see now. Okay, so now Akbar became independent of the regent of Bairam Khan, so his uncle and other members of his domestic staff, right? And military campaigns were launched against the Suris and other Afghans, against the neighboring kingdoms of Malwa, Gondwana, and to suppress a revolt of his half brother Mirza Hakim and the Uzbeks. In 1568, the Sisodia capital of Chittor was seized, and in 1569, Ranthambore was also seized. So now here we can see the legacy of Akbar. So now the very first one where he was facing the problem was from his own, we can say, his native place, right? It is from the Uzbek. He is from the Uzbek. So he was very instrumental. Bairam Khan was helpful, helped him to revolt, to stop a revolt which was done by his half brother Mirza Hakim, right? And also the Uzbeks. And there we can see that in the year 1568, one more 1568, the Sisodias, right? Sisodia capital of Chittor. Sisodia capital of Chittor was seized by Akbar, and again in the year 1569, Ranthambore. So these are all the 1569. Ranthambore was taken control. Ranthambore. Yes. So now these are all these two are the Rajput kingdoms, we can call, right? They are the Rajput kingdoms which was overtaken by Akbar's reign in the first period, we can say, right? Akbar's reign is divided into three periods, we can call. One is from 1556 to 1570, and another one, second one, let us discuss the second reign or the second period. So now let us see what happened in this 1585, 1570 to 1585, right? So now, my dear student, Military campaigns in Gujarat were followed by campaigns in the east in Bihar, Bengal, Odisha. These campaigns were complicated by the 1579-1580 revolt in support of Mirza Hakim. So now here in this part, so along with Gujarat was western part, and again Bihar, Bengal, right? See the eastern part. So in this 1570 and 1585, so Akbar extended its territory. So Bihar, Bengal, and also Odisha. So he has extended his territory. Now for the east also. Now again, now this was in the second period. Now in the third period, right? So let us see what happened in the third period of Akbar, right? So here in the western part also he extended his territory, and also in the east, that is Bihar, Bengal, and Odisha. So now it's Akbar's contribution to the empire, right? His empire territory was extended. Many of the other small kingdoms, other places were also annexed and were brought under the Mughal flag. Okay, so now 1565, 1585 to 1605, the final innings of Akbar, right? Okay, expansion of Akbar's empire. Campaigns were launched in northwest Kandahar. Kandahar was seized from the Safavids. Kashmir was annexed, as also Kabul after the death of Hakim Mirza. You can see, my dear students, now Akbar went to the northern part, right, above the Delhi, right? So now the major portions of the Afghanistan, that is Kabul, was seized, and also Kashmir was also taken control by Akbar, and also we can see that the Kandahar was seized. Kandahar, a place in Afghanistan right now, so that was also seized by from the Safavids, were the rulers of Kandahar. Safavids dynasty, they were ruling Kandahar. It was also annexed by Akbar, right? Okay, and then the next one we have also Mirza Hakim, right? Now campaigns in the Deccan started, and Berar, Khandesh, and parts of Ahmednagar were annexed in the last years of the reign of Akbar, right? Akbar was distracted by the rebellion of Prince Salim, the future Emperor Jahangir. Okay, now here, my dear students, along with the parts of in the northern part, that is from the Afghanistan, as well as taking control over the Kashmir. So now he also came down to the Deccan. So in his last days of his life, he came into Deccan, and also had taken the parts of Berar, Khandesh, and parts of Ahmednagar. Right now it is in Maharashtra. Yes, and Akbar, my dear students, Akbar, I hope you might have heard something about Anarkali, Salim and Anarkali, the love story in which the Mughal-e-Azam movie they have shown, right? Okay, so now he was distracted. Akbar was a little bit distracted by the rebellion of by his own son, that is Salim, nickname, and in the future he became the emperor. The name is Jahangir, right? Salim is nothing but Jahangir, right? So in the Badshah we have given Bhaj. J is Jahangir, nickname was Salim in the movie, right? Okay, so now this was about the reign of Akbar. Okay, so now after this, my dear students, still we have to discuss about the reign of Jahangir, Shah Jahan, and Aurangzeb. Yes, we still have to discuss about that. So before discussing about their achievements or regarding their timeline, so in the meantime, let us discuss about the Mughal traditions of success. Mughal traditions of success. Mughal tradition of success. So now what? Tradition of success. Okay. So which principle they followed, or what are the policies they adopted in ruling, right? So now, my dear students, Mughals did not follow. Mughals did not follow the rule of primogeniture. Primogeniture. It's primogeniture. They didn't follow the rule of primogeniture. So now, what is this primogeniture, right? Okay, so now primogeniture, it's the right of succession belonging to the first child. The right of succession which belonging to the first child. Whereas in every kingdom or the we have seen, right? For if there is the eldest son, then the eldest son is the successor of his father. He will be the successor of his father. So that is what we call it as the primogeniture, right? So now these Mughals did not follow this the rule of primogeniture. Instead they believed in copper scenery. Instead they believed in copper scenery. So now what is this copper scenery, right? You might be asking a question. Primogeniture, where the first child will be the successor of his father. So now what is this copper scenery, right? So now this copper scenery, my student, it is nothing but a smaller unit of the family that jointly owns the property. So now the Mughals will not believe in the primogeniture. Instead, they wanted the principle of copper scenery. So now it means, right? Copper scenery inheritance meant division of inheritance among all the sons, and the eldest son will be the leading one, right? So he will be the leading one. Under him, all his sons will be like jointly owns the property. So now this was the Mughal tradition of succession, right? The rule of primogeniture means eldest son to inherit the father's estate, right? So the male heir or the firstborn child, if he be the successor of his father, so that particular principle we call it as the primogeniture, and then division among all of them, right? In a joint family. So that is the copper scenery. Yes. So this one we have this is what about the Mughals tradition of success. Yes. Okay. And then next we have, my dear students, about the Mughal relation with other rulers. Relation with other rulers. This little bit yesterday in the class, in my previous class, I have said about the relations. Why Akbar was so much famous and powerful, right? And how he controlled all the neighboring or the surrounding territories or the kingdoms around Delhi, right? So now here, Mughals rulers were against the rulers who refused to accept their authority, but as they became powerful, many rulers like the Rajputs joined them voluntarily. Yes, so now, my dear students, before waging a war on the neighboring kingdom, right, the Mughals always sent you can say a message to them, or might be an official notice to them, right, a letter, them stating them before waging a war, if you are interested to join us and you do accept as we the supreme authority, then we will not wage war. Else, if you are not ready, then we have to meet in the battleground. So that was what the principle the Mughals used to do, right? So Mughals rulers were against the rulers who refused to accept their authority, but as they became powerful, right? So as they became powerful, many of the kingdoms too accepted the Mughal authority, especially like the Rajputs, And okay, many of the rulers married their daughter into Mughal families, and in return got high position in Mughal court, right, my dear students? Yesterday I have said like Akbar married a Rajput queen, right? The name was Jodhabai, right? Jodhabai. We have read. So why this marriage was done? It was a political matter, and also a good and also to take command over or control over, to show that the king is not your enemy, he is your friend. And also, as you accept Mughal authority, then there will be no harm for you, as well as in term of your anyone has waging a war on you, then we will come and help you, and in return, right? So vice versa was also given, and Mughals were powerful. The assurance was given to those kingdoms, those who accepted the Mughal authority, right? So this was the relation maintained by the Mughals. As many of the Rajput families, they gave their daughter into the Mughal family for the marriage, right? So they married the Mughal family members, right? So, and in turn, those Rajputs also got some high positions in the Mughal court. The king also rewarded for this gesture, right? Okay, so now many it might be the Sisodia Rajput completely refused to accept Mughal authority. Completely accepted, right? So they refused to accept the Mughal authority. Now what happened then? So defeated rulers, right? Okay, so now the Sisodia were defeated. You can see here the second reign of the first reign of Akbar. We have seen that, right? 1556 to 1550, 1570. The kingdom of Sisodia in the year 1568 were annexed, or might be you can call was seized by Akbar, right? You can see. So the Sisodia Rajput refused to accept the Mughal authority, and in the year 1568, Akbar launched a war with them, waged a war on them, and in the year 1568, Sisodia's was also the Sisodia capital Chittor was seized by Akbar. So now what happened to the defeated rulers? What was done to the defeated rulers, right? So defeated rulers were treated by the Mughals with honor and were returned their land and lands as assignments called Watan Jagirs. Called Watan Jagirs. Okay. So now the defeated kings, my dear students, they respected them, they honored them, and also returned their lands as assignments and called them as Watan Jagir. And called them as Watan Jagir, right? Okay. Now this ensured a balance and further helped in the expansion of Mughal Empire, right? So this was how the Mughal relations with other rulers were maintained. It was might be diplomatically or politically, and also in waging the war, they didn't kill the king as the other Muslim kings they did, right? So, but Akbar didn't did this. In return, the defeated rulers or the kings were honored and also their lands were returned with the assignments called as Watan Jagir. Yes, and with this, Akbar ensured a balance and further helped in the expansion of Mughal Empire. So Akbar was a very ambitious emperor. So under his reign, we can say that the Mughal authority or the Mughal emperor, right? It expanded over a vast territory. Even he has seized Afghanistan, that is Kandahar, Kabul, Kashmir, right? And the Rajput families, either it might be Rajasthan or Rajput kingdoms in Gujarat, right? And also he has seized one Bihar, Bengal, Odisha, as well as in the Deccan also we have seen he has come up to Ahmednagar. So with this we can say that Akbar was a very ambitious person, and under his rule, the Mughal rule was expanded to his maximum extent, right? Okay, my dear students, this was from today's class. We'll continue in the next class. Thank you.